Final presenter, distinguished member of the National Wrestling Hall of Fame, three-time Olympian Dan Chandler.
As a coach, I'm continually asking myself, I wonder if I could clone Brandon Paulson. Brandon had a great career. He did everything. He won national championships in every age group, an Olympic medal, world medal. And so I guess I really don't have to worry so much about cloning him because now he's one of the top coaches in the United States. Director and coach at Pinnacle. And he's bringing the next generation of wrestlers into Minnesota USA Wrestling that'll lead our teams and also be stars on the national team. Congratulations to Doug and Sherry. You must be super proud. Have a great son like Brandon. And Doug, I'd especially like to thank you for being a great parent coach. In my job, I see a lot of them that are a little bit crazy. You're crazy too, but you have pretty good balance. And the greatest thing about Doug is he brought Brandon to the wrestling room with no assembly required. By the time he got into the senior age group, he had won a national championship on every age group. He was on the national team when he was in high school, and of course went on to win several. Well, I think he won a junior world silver, Olympic silver, and world silver. And I want to give you one word of advice, Brandon. I know a lot of times, when one guy has beaten you several times, you still dream about wrestling him. And I saw Armin Nazarian at the World Championships. He's one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. But Brandon, he's got 50 pounds on you, so forget about it. Well, without further ado, Brandon, come on up and get your award.
Every time, really?
I always have to do that. First, thank you. I'm honored to be a new member of the Hall of Champions. First, I want to start out with a story of Matt Lindland, since I get to be last and he can't retort. The year, I think it was 2001, Matt ended up moving up a weight. He was down at, I believe, 163, 167 at the Olympics 2001. We were both on the same team, and the World Championships were in Greece. And we were training in Paris, and I was at my normal weight, not up a weight. So I had to cut a little bit of weight. And so we were both in the sauna. We had I was in the sauna to lose weight. He was in the sauna to hang out. And so if you know Matt at all, Matt had a chew in his mouth. And so he was sitting in the sauna, and it was about 2 or 3 days before weigh-ins, and I'm doing my rocking, just I'm focused. I'm fine. If nobody talks to me, I'm great. Okay? Just don't bother me. So Matt's in there, chatting away, and I'm just kind of looking at him, And, he spits on the floor, right? He spits on the floor, and I kind of look at him like, man, what's going on? It's like, huh? Okay, so I leave it alone. The next day, I'm getting the sauna again, and I'm rocking, and it's a day closer to weigh-ins, and, Matt's over there having a snooze in the sauna, and he spits on the floor again. I'm like, Matt, I gotta step in this stuff. I'm coming, I went off on him. At that time, again, you cut weight, you're a little delusional. I'm thinking, I'm gonna beat the crap out of this guy. I'm gonna choke him out. I'm gonna beat him up, and Matt comes up, dude, man, what's going on? And you're cutting weight, you're grumpy. This is the same guy. A year before, he was out of the sauna, buck naked, couldn't move, couldn't walk, because he was dying because he was cutting weight, but obviously over that 1 year you forget things. Matt was one of the toughest, meanest sons of guns out there, and I tell you what, you turn your folder over and you look at the inductees into the National Greco-Roman Hall of Champions, and those are some tough dudes. Dennis Hall, Kozlowski, Howe, Frazier, those are tough dudes. The other thing, the Short family, that they're very well-deserved award. I just thank you for 1989. We were better. We're back. Tokyo 2020, we are back. Wrestling is back, and I'm pumped. I'm excited. It's awesome. Wrestling is back. Tokyo 2020, hopefully LA 2024. LA is actually where it started for me, 1984. Back when Frazier, I was like 10 years old when he won his gold medal, but that was my inspiration. Matt talked about inspiration. That was my inspiration. Watching those guys walk in the opening ceremonies for me, it was my Olympic dream after that. And the Olympics have always been my passion, and wrestling has always been my passion. And thank the Lord that those two can still be combined. I can still remember to this day walking around that track in the '96 Olympic Games in Atlanta, and it amazing feeling. And I'm so happy that I get to coach guys that still have that dream, that they can walk around that track in the Olympics and hopefully make the Olympic team. For me, it was a special day. It was our first day of Pinnacle. As Matt said, Jared Lawrence and I run a wrestling school, and then the day that wrestling was reinstated, we had 220 guys in our room on September 15th. Wrestling is alive. There is still wrestling, and it will continue to thrive, and we will fight for it. And I want to send a personal thank you to everybody that fought for it. A lot of people over here on this table that fought for wrestling to stay in the Olympics. A lot of people did it for no reason, no reason. It was just to keep wrestling, because we all know it's an awesome sport. So thank you. Now it's about my team. I want to thank a bunch of people, so please bear with me. I had a team of people. Obviously, the Lord Jesus Christ for dying for my sins is the most important. Wouldn't be here without him, obviously. My workout partners, Brett Lawrence, Pat Connors, Bart Goyer, Leroy Vega, Alex Popovich. Those guys aren't here today, but I can't be here without those guys. I worked and had a family, so I wrestled at 10 a.m., 1 p.m., 3 p.m., 9 p.m., whenever I could, because I worked and I had my kids and whatever, so I worked out whenever, and they came in for me, so that means a lot, and I'll always be indebted to them. I want to thank my competitors, especially world medalist Sean Sheldon and Lindsay Durlocker, who's no longer with us. Olympian Stephen Mays. I thought about them every day. When I was training, I was thinking about them, and they made me better. And of course, Dennis Hall, who sometimes I'm more remembered for my loss than my wins. And Dennis was a big influence on me, and I still talk to him quite a bit. He wasn't just a competitor; he was one of my mentors. In the '95 World Championships, that's when Dennis won a world title, which was the first world title since Houck in 10 years. And I was fortunate enough to be a training partner with him. And it was Mr. Frazier's, I believe, first day on the job. That's how he rolls. First day on the job, he wins world titles. But Dennis went through 3 world champions in one tournament, had the worst draw he could get, didn't matter to him. He figured out a way to win. He wrestled every minute, every second, every millisecond, and it was so inspiring. It changed my wrestling. It changed the way I wrestled. It changed the way I thought about wrestling. So he was a big influence, and unfortunately I had to lose to him my last match, but to be honest, that match was, I'm proud of that match. I was a competitor, and he was a competitor, and we fought like dogs because we both believed we were the best guy in the world. And that's what happens. One guy's got to win, one guy's got to lose, but I'm proud of the match with him, and I thank him for everything he's done for me. Some of my coaches and my dad, which I'll talk to in about a little bit, Joe Russell, who is here, If it wasn't for Joe Russell, I wouldn't be wrestling Greco-Roman. He got me into Greco-Roman. He came as a kids club coach, and I remember one of the first days he had me, he taught me 26 moves from the 2-on-1. So if he taught me 26 back then, he probably has 52 or 104, one of those two. But Joe was an inspiration to me. His perseverance and dedication and passion for the sport, I owe a lot to Joe. Moving on to Kevin Darkus, Ron Malcolm, the coaches at the U. Mr. Chandler actually figured out very early that I had control issue problems, which I didn't really know about, but he kind of let the training kind of be on my hands. I have control issues. I'm an addict, so he left me with my training plan, and if I ever needed help, I called him and he would help me. But obviously, one of the best coaches this country has ever had, and I was lucky to have Mr. Chandler, Mr. Frazier as well. He always had that toughness and that grit, and if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be the USA that we are. And I think we're going to get back on top if you guys go back and watch those World Championship matches where Frazier, Lindland, and Coach Chandler were the coaches this year. They wrestled hard, and that's what it's going to take. The new rules are going to benefit the Americans because we have heart and we wrestle with passion. I want to thank Jake Deichler. He was my first athlete that I really coached after I was done wrestling. God, it must be good, huh? No, I mean, what a person to have. For me to coach him, he did every single thing I said, and it worked out for him, obviously. He's a very great athlete, but also a great person. He was all in. He did whatever you told him. And when you have an athlete that does that, it's amazing how well it works. But he gave me, again, the passion to get back in the wrestling world, which I am now doing with Jared Lawrence, who another one I want to thank. I've partnered up with Jared Lawrence in Pinnacle Wrestling School. I have the greatest job on earth. I coach wrestling for a living. Along with these U coaches, it's the greatest job on earth. What better can you do? I coach wrestling. I go to work every day. I get to coach some kids, some 7-year-old kids, which sometimes is a little challenging, to high school kids, to the international style. I got the greatest job on earth, and I am blessed because of it. A couple more people. My mother, who had the most important job in the world, is to raise kids, and she was great at it. And I'm going to talk about being great a little bit later, and now she does the same as a grandmother. My wife, who a month after she told me she was pregnant with our first child, I told her I was quitting my job to train full time. So she stuck with me and was always supportive and actually encouraged me. You want to wrestle however long you want to wrestle. 2008, go ahead, go wrestle. And I was done 4 years, so I was done. But she was always supportive, traveled with me, and supported me with whatever I did. I do wish my little boy Eli could have watched me wrestle a couple times, but my little girl's got to watch me. And then my dad, everybody knows Doug. Wherever I go, whether it's Florida, Boston, California, Vegas, Washington, how's your dad doing? My dad's doing great. I'm not Mr. Social. Not only do I have control issue problems, but I'm not a very social person except when it comes to weddings. But my dad is Mr. Social. He talks to everybody and is friendly with everybody. So from the international elite wrestler to the kid in Hercules that now has their kid in my program, everybody asks about my dad. And he's a great guy. That was my first coach. And he was my mat coach for all but the 2 years when I kicked him out for getting a little too emotionally involved. He was my mat coach as well. And I couldn't have done it without him. The support he gave me, everything he's done for me, I hope I could be a father like him. Okay. Lastly, be great. To be great, you need to be a competitor. Every second of every match, every second of every practice, try to be better. You play by the rules, you live right, you're looking to improve every second, to be great. Winning is not enough. Being great is different than winning. Be great, don't just win. It's not good enough to win 2-1, 3-1. Be great, be better than you are. Everybody can be better than they are. Set goals higher than most people think is possible. I don't believe in unrealistic goals. Be great, set those goals higher. You can be great in whatever you do, whether it's being a homemaker, whether it's being a coach, whether it's being a dad, whether it's being a wrestler. Be great. Colossians 3:23-24 says, whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord, not for man. Which to me means be great. Thank you.